What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
Shana Mostella.
Today, we're going to talk about frenemies.
Ooh.
For those that don't know what a frenemy is, it's a combination of the word friend and enemy.
A frenemy is someone who doesn't really like you, but for some reason they still just put on a front like you're their friend and they talk to you like nothing's wrong.
It's kind of like having a snitch in your group.
Right.
Yeah, they with you, but the first chance they get, they backstabbing you.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, frenemies, a lot of us have them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of backstabbers and conniving people in your circle, and you may not even know it. A frenemy will masquerade as your friend, but behind the scenes, they got a lot to say about you.
Oh, yeah.
Today's topic was inspired by a frenemy that had just popped up into our lives as of last night. Came out of nowhere, but I'm glad it did. It's given us something that needs to be talked about. So let's give y'all a backstory real quick. Let's start with the reason why this person popped up. As some of y'all already know, if you follow us on our regular Facebook pages or on my fan page, you've seen that I've started a GoFundMe. Long story short, Shana and I have decided to leave Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I've been putting on a smile and a front that I've been okay. I really haven't. Being in LA has taken a toll on me, on my mental and physical health. This pandemic just made it way worse. And then the cherry on top of the shit cake, the industry that I went to college for to work in is non-existent. I work with a lot of live events. As you know, thanks to the pandemic, there's no live events. And there's none projected for a long time. I'm not just talking about concerts and things like that. I'm talking about corporate meetings, presentations. A large clientele of my job are corporate meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We are a global company, and we've shut down across the globe. Every branch office in the 47 states we have offices in, we own like 60 to 70% of the market share of this business, and there's no business anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Shana and I have worked so hard to come to LA. We've worked even harder to stay here. To watch everything you work for fall apart, that's definitely going to mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
We've been on starving artist mode, doing what we can, crank out these podcasts, doing photo shoots, just making money here and there on the side the best we can, but it's never enough. It finally got to an unhealthy level to where I had to be honest with myself. I had to be honest with Shana. I couldn't do this anymore. It was physically straining my body, just making me very unhealthy. It just got unsafe, to say the least. So I decided to make a GoFundMe to help get us out of here as soon as possible. So that's the backstory on that. So there's this person. What do you want to call him?
I want to call him, just for the sake of this video, let's call him Franklin Castle.
Frank Castle. Saying Franklin just doesn't roll off the tongue as nice. Let's call him Frank Castle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the perfect name. All of a sudden, he thinks he's a badass. He thinks he's like the Punisher the way he's taking shots at us.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect name. Yeah, we'll call him the Punisher. But the only thing he's shooting is his own foot with all the shit he's trying to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get right into his backstory and how he relates to us. We've known Frank for a good 10 years now. He was actually one of my first friends I made when I moved to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
How that came to be, he was actually dating this girl who was my actual first friend I made coming to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Got to learn about him through her. We would frequently see him at cosplay events in the Chicago area, even though he lived in like Hammond, Indiana or something like that. He just lived just across the Indiana-Illinois border. So he was close enough just to drive to Chicago whenever. Before I go any further, I should probably say what he was saying about us. A friend of mine took a screenshot off his Facebook and asked me, "Hey, is this guy talking shit about you?" So his first post was from the first day the GoFundMe went live. It went something like this. "While you beg for money on GoFundMe, we are not the same." We'll get into that a little bit later, but it was pretty much a flex. Oh yeah, I can definitely agree we're not the same. I'll get into that later. Then as of last night, 5 days later, he writes, "You're going to talk a bunch of crap on your podcast, but then beg for money on GoFundMe? That ship has sailed." And that's what solidified it. His first post, he could have talked about anybody.
Right.
But that second one, this dude literally just messaged me in May talking about how much he's a big fan of our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He drives trucks for a living. It's something that he can listen to. It keeps him company. It's a great way to stay focused and drive.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the message on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I had a moment like, is this dude really talking this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Of course he was. There was no denying it. So let's go back into the history lesson so y'all can understand why it was so shocking. I'm gonna throw it to Shauna first. She's had a lot of experience dealing with him.
So let me just say that, Frank, we have talked him down off the ledge plenty of times.
It started subtle. It started with problems with his girlfriend, who was our friend. Took me by surprise that he would open up to me about her. She was more our friend than he was at the time. Naturally, our loyalties lied with her. It makes you wonder, how bad is this guy going through it if he's going to open up and talk shit about your friend that he's dating? Hey, what would you do in this situation? Just general advice. No big deal. Then it started getting specific. Then it started getting really bad. Started telling us how much he hates when she does this or hates when this happens. I was like, whoa, that's kind of TMI, bro. Started talking about their sex life. At that point, I wasn't that close to either one of them to hear about their sex life and their ultimatums. But I knew something was wrong for someone that's barely my friend to open up that hard. But being the nice people we are, someone's in need, they're opening up to us. So we would sit down and talk about those things. It just escalated from there. We saw the cycle of depression that he was going through or whatever issues he was having. I don't want to just label it depression. But every time he wanted to have a talk, it was never anything happy.
Yeah.
It was always, hey, let me pull you to the side and rain on your parade today. Let me throw it back to Shauna because she had to deal with a really bad situation for him.
I just want to start out by saying, like, me and Frank did not have a problem with each other. I had no problems with him at all. He was always, a cool, fun-loving dude. He was always around. I used to see him at conventions all the time. Back when we lived in the Midwest, I had no issue with him.
Yeah, he was one of those faces that you always wanted to see. Sometimes he'd be drunk off his ass, but it was always on for some friendly shit.
So I just want to put that out there first and foremost. Never had an issue with you, man. Never. The time I want to talk about was when we went to ASIN one year. We had booked a hotel. I think it was the Embassy Suites. It was Friday, first day of the convention. We were all in the room. It was me, you, and a couple of our friends that were staying in the room with us. We were just coming off the floor, just got out of cosplay. We was down to party. We was getting ready. We got the drinks flowing. We got the party going. People were coming in and out. Here's someone knocking on the door. Open it up. It's Frank. And I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And he just looked like he really needed to talk to somebody. Like, you could see it in his face. And he was trying, we poured him a drink or whatever. I set him down. I'm like, dude, spill the tea. What's wrong? He opens up about just getting let go from the military.
So why'd he get let go, or why didn't he get approved?
He had said he had failed some kind of mental exam and he had something wrong with his eyes. He was in the Air Force, I believe, and he had to pass a vision test and he couldn't.
Yeah, that's a double whammy. You have bad vision and you failed the psych exam. That makes sense why they wouldn't let you fly a plane.
Right. So he spilled his heart out about that. And I was trying to, talk to him as much as I could, just, trying to give him general advice because I've never been in the military. I don't know what that is. But what I did know, coming out of high school or coming out of college, whatever it was at the time, following a plan you set for yourself and that plan not following through, that has to hurt a lot. And
Devastating.
It's devastating. So, for the sake of that, I'm just trying to talk to him, trying to console him, because if someone told me that I couldn't be a fashion designer or that I couldn't be a costume designer, that would really hurt my soul. Talking to him might have gone for I want to say a good hour.
Yeah, it was a good hour.
One of the roommates that we had in the room, he was also in the military. At this time, he probably had been in Afghanistan for a couple of years already himself. After Frank was done talking to me, our friend, we'll call him Mike for the sake of the video, Mike came over and was trying to console Frank as well, giving him his, advice, because trying to relate to his situation more because he was in the military. So he spent time talking to this dude for, another good hour.
Mind you, Mike and Frank didn't even know each other.
Nah.
Mike just felt his pain. He knows what that military life is like, and he just felt for him, so that's why he went over to console him.
Between the two of us, Frank had talked to us for a good 2 hours. Mind you, this is all while everybody else is trying to party and have a good time. By this time, the music was blasting, and we was trying to get ready for the rave and everything. I hadn't even gotten dressed yet. I was still talking to Frank, trying to talk him off the ledge. Honestly, I don't have a problem doing that. If one of my friends is in danger or if they are in need for someone to talk to, I'm always there. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Because when I care about you, I care about you. And that's the end of the story.
Yeah, y'all definitely sacrificed peak convention time.
Oh, yeah.
Friday night when it's party time, at ASIN especially, that's some friendship right there, just to sacrifice all that.
None of us were all like really, really good friends. You know, it was just one of those things where if someone has a problem, you want to help them fix it. That's it. Like, just on that strength alone, we did not know him like that.
We fast forward a little bit in time. There was a house party. This was right after some drama that I was personally in. A lot of y'all remember in Chicago, I used to throw parties at this venue called Game Pazzo. Well, there was a crew of people and DJs and organizers and whatever titles these guys gave themselves. They were kind of mad that they couldn't throw parties there. I had an exclusive contract to be the only one who could do cosplay events. For some reason, that spiraled out of control, and these guys just came up with this rumor saying that I am monopolizing the cosplay party industry in the entire city of Chicago. And what's funny was Game Pazzo isn't even in the city of Chicago. It's in like Downers Grove. It's like a burb that's like half an hour, 40 minutes outside of Chicago. But anyways, we don't need to get that technical. But this group claimed I was bullying them and I was monopolizing the industry. They made it seem like I was showing up at all the bars and clubs with goons, breaking fingers and thumbs and telling managers, this is my club.
Right.
I didn't do anything like that. And what was funny was some of the people in that group, they know me personally. They could have just talked to me about that. But instead, my little moles, some of their DJs were snitches. And they snitched everything to me. That's how I know about all this. They sent me screenshots. They sent me recordings of their quote-unquote meetings to plot against me.
Watch what you say.
But anyways, that shows how deep that went. Fast forward to this room party. I show up. I see a couple of those guys' faces. I feel the tension in the room. They didn't know that I knew. I played it cool. I'm used to it. People always got some shit to say about the things I do. The one person I didn't expect bullshit from was Frank. After everything we've done for him,
right.
Even up to that point, he pulls me aside. Hey, Renji, I want to talk to you. All right, cool. I'm thinking it's going to be another cry on your shoulder session. Gotten used to this. This is the routine when we see this man. He asked me about the whole monopolizing thing. So is it true? Are you like bullying people out of these venues? And I look at him. I was like, bro, you've known me for years at this point.
Right.
You claim to be my friend, but you want to question my character?
Exactly.
You've been to my parties. You've been to my event. You're friends with people that I've employed to work my parties. And yet you still want to question my character, that I need to be on some lowbrow mobster mentality that I'm bullying people out of venues? And I tell him, I was like, no, dude, I'm disappointed that you would even ask me that after everything we've been through. He responds with something like this. Well, seriously, bro, you know, that's not cool if you're doing that. These guys are just out there trying to make it just like you are. That's messed up that you're stopping them from having this opportunity.
Right.
And I told him again, dude, you asked me and I told you. I'm looking you in your eye, man to man, telling you, no, I did not do that. I am not stopping anyone from doing anything. And I'll explain to you one more time. I have this contract with this venue for cosplay parties only. The manager has even told them and told me they can throw a checkers party. They can throw a silly string party. They can have a pizza party. They can have a bring your own black balloons and make clown parties. They can do anything they want. They just can't do a cosplay party. Frank looks at me again, still doesn't believe a damn thing I'm saying. I had to try so hard not to cuss him out. At that point, he was just straight up disrespecting me.
Right.
Bro, I just told you to your face, as sincere as possible. And you just flat out hit me with that's a bunch of bullshit. I don't believe you.
Right.
And then what was funny was we had like an awkward moment of silence. And then he turns around and starts spilling his heart out to me again. Dude, you just questioned my character, said I was full of bullshit, and now you want to tell me about your problems? Get the hell out of here. I let him talk for a good like 2-3 minutes and I just walked away. The nerve of this guy. From that day on, I never looked at him the same.
Right.
I was still cordial and I was still cool with him. I never really forgot about that moment, I guess.
Right.
We still remained friends throughout the years. I just didn't talk to him like how I used to.
Right.
Because I'm willing to forgive. I understand that he was going through something in his life. So maybe this was just a part of it. Maybe he was just questioning a lot of things.
I remember that party because I had to sit there with him again and talk to him for another hour about what he was going through. Pretty much the same thing, you know? And even then, I understood where he was coming from because your spirits got crushed. I understand that. I'm there to talk to you. Whatever. It's a party. We're drinking. We're having fun. We're there to socialize. I'm not going to kick you while you're down. Remember that. I did not kick you while you were down, even though we were at a party trying to have fun. I did not say anything to you to make you feel a type of way, even though the situation wasn't supposed to be about you and your moment. You got to be careful with how you treat people. I'm going to come back to that later on in this podcast.
So just long story short about that, it seemed like once or twice a year, we would see him at a big event, like a convention or a get-together, but he always had to come pull us aside and spill his heart to us.
And guess what? We let him. We talked to him.
Even after he'd straight up disrespect me at this party.
Oh, yeah.
Just for clarity, not every time we saw him was bad.
No.
We still remained friends, and we still would see him at cons, and we'd still have good times. Moving forward, it just felt like he was a lost soul. Him not getting into the Air Force or whatever branch of military he was trying to do seemed to have broke him. That was his big goal. I get what that feels like. It hurts to think about not having a purpose.
Right.
Or not knowing what your purpose is anymore. You tried it, and then you failed, and now you're done.
How quickly we forget. Well, before you get too far into the future, there was one party, I want to say like the following ASIN, after that first ASIN, we had to talk him off the ledge. Frank was still down in the dumps about getting let go from the military. Do you guys remember that podcast when Renji got roofied and there was a part of that story where I kind of left with a friend? This is where I picked that story up. So the friend was Frank. I left with Frank and he pulled me aside saying he had something to talk about. We went all the way outside, like not even outside the room. We went outside to the parking lot and sat down on the curb.
That was a journey too, mind you. This party was in the top floor of the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
So for Shana to have to go all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, it was like at the bottom of the Hyatt where, kind of across where the soap bubbles held. We were all the way down there. Again, having a heart-to-heart with Frank. He's having a hard time, just spilling his heart out. I'm there for him. I'm listening. I'm trying to console him. We're just talking. I think half an hour turned into an hour. I was out there with him for a long time, just talking to him about his problems. I didn't even really get a chance to say much just because I just let him talk. I let him tell me what was going on and I let him just really vent. This was, again, leaving a party just to go talk to this person, the same person. I missed the soap bubble for this. And I had to hurry and get back up to you because I didn't want to leave you up there alone or like lose track of where you were. But I was still out there talking to Frank. I was still out there trying to make him feel better. Still out there trying to be a friend. I spent a lot of time doing that. That's how much I cared about you. At this point, we were getting closer. We were talking a lot. If I'm going to leave a whole ass party, go all the way downstairs outside to talk just to you, you know how special you have to be. It's not like we were like best friends, but I still was there for you. I still talked to you when you needed it. That's all it came down to. I didn't need you to be my best friend. I just saw somebody in need and I talked to you and I consoled you as best as I could. That was me being a friend.
People quickly forget that shit. All right, so let's move forward. As I said with my story about the party, I kind of didn't know where he stood with me at that time.
Right.
I thought we were cool, but for him to question my character like that, maybe we weren't as cool. I moved on from that party just thinking, maybe he doesn't like me like that. Fast forward to the next couple times I see him at ASIN. We had already moved to Los Angeles, but I was back for ASIN twice. Both times I saw him, and he was all buddy-buddy with me. It was kind of awkward at first because the last thing I remember was our exchange at that party. Him and Shauna's relationship was totally different than my relationship with him. He was still super cool with Shauna, but for some reason, I just felt that ever since that party, these people got to him, and he switched his loyalties or whatever. But then I saw him, and he was super cool with me. I'm a grown-ass man. I'll let bygones be bygones. One last note before we talk about the present time again. When we moved to LA, we had to move in a hurry. I was given an opportunity to audition for a show, and at the same time, I was given an opportunity to interview for a job. The only catch was I didn't have much time to decide. I had to be in LA like ASAP. Shana and I hurried up and sold a bunch of our stuff. One of my friends encouraged me to start like an Indiegogo, which is pretty much the same as a GoFundMe. A bunch of my friends were willing to pitch in to help me get out here faster just so I can catch these opportunities. Lo and behold, one of those friends was Frank. I still have that message on my phone as well. That was the last thing he said to me before he messaged me about being a fan of the podcast. So these two messages are right next to each other.
Right.
Hey man, I just sent you some money. Good luck out there. It's going to be under this name. The name you see on my Facebook isn't my real name. So interesting how he was so supportive that it was totally okay to help a friend out, to send them money when they're in need.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, he's Mr. Punisher on Facebook, the tough guy taking shots at people.
All of a sudden,
he's taking shots at us for asking for help.
right. Aren't you the same person who gave us money to move out here, but now you have a problem that we're moving back?
Exactly.
What is wrong with you?
So keep that in mind. So we bring it back. A lot of people share the GoFundMe campaign. You would expect strangers to talk shit. Who are these people that need
Right.
money? I'm not going to give them any money. That's to be expected. They don't know us. They don't know our situation.
Right.
Then comes somebody that we have been there for time and time again
Right.
to take a shot at us.
Yeah. How can you be the same person that we talk to off of the ledge, your own personal ledge, time and time and time again? How could that be the same person online talking shit and taking jabs at us? When we were down, when we needed some help, that's what you want to do. But when you were down, we did nothing but help you. We did nothing but be there for you. You see how I didn't go on the internet and talk shit about you, about all of your problems and all of your trials and tribulations? You see how I didn't go and talk shit about you to anybody? Exactly. Did you hear your name in the wind coming from my mouth? No, you did not, honey. So how are you the same person online taking jabs at people who did nothing but help you, who were nothing but friends to you? Answer me that.
In the 10 years we've known him, we've never turned you away when you needed help.
Never.
We never made fun of you.
Never.
We never kicked you while you were down. And let's be honest, half the time we saw you at cons, you were drunk off your ass. We would see you at 9 a.m. with a beer in your hand.
Exactly.
Not even trying to hide it. Yet we tolerated your drunk ass. We knew you were going through some stuff. If he wants to get drunk for 72 hours straight, let him. That's
Exactly.
his business. We were still cool with you, my dude. Now here you are, standing on your soapbox, just talking shit, just because you happened to get your life together in the last 2 years. But the whole time we knew you before this, you were a mess, dude. You
Yeah.
were living in Indiana, couldn't even get your shit together.
Nah.
Your cost of living was a fraction of what we were paying in Chicago.
Exactly.
You want to flex? Well, let me flex. Never once in the time that I've known you have I ever asked for help like that.
Nope.
I've never flat out just asked for help because I couldn't make it happen. I've worked my ass off, and you know that. I had my shit together before you knew me. I had my shit together in Chicago. I had my shit together for 6.5 years here in LA. Oh, and lo and behold, a pandemic destroyed the industry that we both work in. That's due to no fault of our own, while you, on the other hand, couldn't figure shit out in Hammond, Indiana.
And I just want to say to you, Frank, I'm very happy that you finally got your shit together. I'm so happy for you that you finally found something you want to do with your life. I'm happy you bought that big, beautiful home that you just bought. I'm happy for you. I'm so happy that the pandemic didn't strike you as hard as it's striking me and Renji. You know we have been in the entertainment industry since as long, even before you knew us. And I'm so glad that that's not happening to you. It must be so beautiful from way up there on your high horse, looking down on us who are going through something. Must be so nice for you to just drop pennies off of your high horse, trying to hit the ones that are, already in pain. I'm happy that you find some kind of passion and excitement from doing that. It must be so great to be you. And frankly, you can miss me with that bullshit. Because honestly, after today, after seeing that shit online, we're not friends anymore. You and I are not friends anymore. If we see each other in passing or in public, I'll be cordial to you. I'll say hello to you. But you and I are not friends, hon. Not no more.
I hope you continue to stay blessed to have the luxury to kick others while they're down.
Exactly.
I'm glad you got so much time on your hands that you can even kick your own friends when they're down. I'm glad you have the luxury to be a thumb thug, a keyboard killer, a webcam warrior, a Facebook fighter, whatever title you prefer. It must be nice that you're so blessed to have that luxury that you can just sit behind your keyboard, sit behind your phone, and pat yourself on the back because you've made it. Yeah, you didn't make it with your first dream, but yes, you settled for a job that's steady pay and you got a house. That's cool. I'm glad your dreams didn't work out and you just took a job that was steady and it worked out for you. I'm happy for you.
How quickly you forget where you came from, Frank. How quickly you forget how down in the dumps you were for missing your opportunity and your first passion. How quickly you forget who you are yourself. So while you're out there, quote unquote, signing checks, just remember one thing. You weren't always, quote unquote, signing checks. That's why I said I'm glad that you are where you are now and you're happy. But as for us ever being friends again, a little quote from your book, that ship has sailed. And that's all I got to say about that.
You want to talk about signing checks? Since you're doing so well, maybe sign us checks for all the hours of free therapy we gave you those 4 years we lived in Chicago with you. Oh, no, where we lived in Chicago and you lived in Indiana struggling. Sorry, let me correct that.
Ouch. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, children and kids, be careful who you talk shit about and be careful what you say because you never know who's going to screen cap that shit and send it directly to the person you're talking shit about. Because unlike you, Frank, we have friends, a lot of friends, who are more loyal to us, even on our bad days. So...
And speaking of that thumb thugging, obviously you haven't unfriended me.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I haven't unfriended you. I just don't see your posts anymore thanks to Facebook algorithms. Mm-hmm. You're still on my friends list. If you had such a problem with me, especially being such a fan of my podcast, you took a moment to tell me how much you enjoy it. You couldn't take 2 seconds to text me and be like, yo, I didn't like what you said.
You had just got through saying how big of a fan you are of the podcast.
As a friend, you have that right to slide up in my DMs and be like, yo, I think you went too far with what you said. You listen to my podcast. You know the things I say. You know I open things up for discussions. But you also know who I am as a person. Or at least I thought you did. But with that, you want a vague book about me?
Exactly.
At me, bro. You know who I am.
As many times as you come to us and vent it about your own personal shit, you know you have that door open for you. So why not say, why not say what's on your mind? You've been saying what's on your mind for years. We're used to it. So...
Yeah, since I had to see these through screen caps from real friends, loyal people in my life, what was the point of vague booking if I wasn't going to see it? You could have even put my name on there. If you really felt that strongly about it, you could have put my name on there. You could have been like, F fan service Renji and his GoFundMe begging ass. But no, you wanted to vague book about it, hoping someone would see. That's some bitch shit.
It is.
That's some bitch shit, yo.
It is.
But a lot of us know why you didn't do that. Because you do know you have about 150 to 200 mutual friends with me. Mm-hmm. You don't want that smoke. You would rather vague book and have a few of your friends you have remaining slide in your DMs and be like, hey, who you talking about?
Exactly.
You could have went on my exact post like this one guy did and just speak his piece. Mm-hmm. You could have been up in my comments, be like, you know what? I don't agree with that. I'm a hardworking truck driving American. I don't like what you're doing. You could have said it right there and let your opinion be known to me and all the people that supported me.
But you can't handle what was going to come back at you. And that's why you vague booked that shit. That's why you didn't want to put it on blast like that, because you knew that people were going to come for you. And if that's really how you feel, then you should let people come for you and test your opinions. And we're all friends here. But if you can't handle that, then you shouldn't be saying that shit in the first place.
You don't have to agree with any of the things we say on this podcast. You don't have to agree with the things we do in our life. But us as men, us as friends,
on top of that,
that was some bitch shit, for lack of better words. You got a vague book about me? Go ahead, bro. It's like, congratulations that 4 people reacted to it. Hope that makes you feel better. I'm sorry that we have made such an impact in the cosplay community and into certain individuals' lives that they want to help us in our time of need. I'm sorry that the things I've done for the cosplay community has inspired people to be better, to do more for themselves, and now they want to return the favor and help me out in my time of need. I'm sorry that I have support from people that you don't.
I just want to put it out there. Like, if we were that, scared to put ourselves out there like that on GoFundMe, we wouldn't have done it. If we already know that people are going to come for us and say things like that, it's like, whatever. But you as a friend, come on, dude. Seriously, I have nothing more to say to you, about you at all, because there's just no point in it. Like, it's like laughing at a homeless person, basically. It's like, they're already in their position that they're in. Like, you see it. You see what they're going through. So why would you, kick them while they're down?
That's a great point. He wants to shit on us because we asked for help. We're in the situation we're in because of the pandemic destroyed the industry we're in. The pandemic destroyed a lot of industries. The restaurant industry, the live entertainment industry, live events. Pandemic destroyed a lot of other industries. So what's next? You're going to get back on your soapbox and be like, screw you, restaurant industry. You don't deserve a bailout. Screw you, small business that's been on the corner for 30 years. You don't get a bailout. You talk shit about big businesses. No money for you.
Exactly.
No money for you. A lot of people have been affected by this pandemic, whether you know it or not. You happen to be one of the lucky ones that work in an industry that's still considered essential. So you going to go down the street talking shit about all these people too? Be my guest. Please, I hope you do.
But one last point, though. You also a Trump supporter, Frank. So you're probably the same person who doesn't believe in that COVID even exists anyway. So I guess this whole pandemic, the one that's affecting the whole world, yeah, that pandemic doesn't apply to you anyway. So I guess none of this even matters. Sorry.
Yeah, how can a pandemic destroy industries when it never existed?
Oh, yeah.
It's like an invisible tornado that doesn't blow wind.
That's why you don't care about this and why this doesn't even apply to you, because guess what? You're a Trump supporter. So anything he said just magically just isn't real.
And speaking of that leads me into the next thing I was about to say. People are probably asking, well, why didn't you engage? Why didn't you go on his page and defend yourself? Easy. If I was actually supposed to see that, my name would have been on there. He would have tagged me. But this was just an attention grab. This was just a, hey, come to my page and talk shit with me. Just like when he posted Trump 2020 on his wall, knowing damn well it was going to get a reaction from his friends. Most of his friends aren't Trump supporters. He knew he would get a reaction. He was ready to argue any comment, and he did. He spent a long time responding back to people. I've never seen that much activity on his Facebook ever. That's why I didn't want to engage. I wasn't going to play into his game and entertain him because he's got the luxury to be a thumb thug.
Yep.
Second question y'all probably going to ask is, have you deleted him? No. Why would I? I love letting people that have a problem with me see what I do with my life. For better or for worse, I'm transparent. If you want to lurk on my life, go ahead.
Just like the saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
You got to keep these people close to you so you can see when they're coming for you.
Exactly, because a frenemy is someone you may not even know they are your frenemy. I have to ask you the same thing, Frank. If you have such a problem with us and we talk so much shit and we do this and that, why do you still subscribe to our podcast? If you don't want to hear it, guess where the exit button is. If you don't want to see what we say, if you don't like the kind of people that we are, you know where the unfriend button is. Why are you still friends with us? Why, if you have such a problem with somebody, would you keep them around? That kind of begs the question, what's wrong with you then? Because I ain't got no problem with you. So what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with him either. That's why he's still on my friends list. But at the same time, I'm a content creator. I keep people on my friends list because they inspire me to have talks like this. This is the exact reason why I still keep people on my friends list. My Facebook, my Instagram, none of my social medias is actually that personal to me.
Nah.
Yeah, I have my close friends on there, but I also have a bunch of people I've never really met or don't know. As a content creator, that's where I get my inspiration from. That's where I get my ideas. That's where I see things and knows what's going on. So thank you for giving me a great topic to talk about today. I'm so glad you're still contributing to me, even though you don't like who I am anymore.
You are the star of this episode, my boy.
And also, I leave these things up for discussion because you help with the engagement. So you may see this and get mad. You're going to have a tough choice. Do you get mad at me in the comments and boost my engagements because you're leaving comments. It doesn't matter if they're bad. You can say my mom was a slut. It's still going to boost the engagements. Or you can tag me on your own wall and be like, oh, this guy's talking shit about me. Put a link to my video. Then people's going to come watch my video, listen to the podcast. Once again, boost the engagements up. Or you can come to my wall when I post this. Boost engagements there. It's a win-win-win for me either way.
Come on down. It's the Renji and Shana show. Just grab a seat and say whatever you want. All you're doing is helping us out.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Everyone knows. Let your haters talk. All they're doing is advertising for free.
Yep.
Maybe that's why you didn't put my name. Maybe you were smart enough to not do that. But either way, vague booking and thumb thugging don't make you look any better.
And it doesn't mean shit when you have over 100 mutual friends. Like, how does that go over well? Someone's going to see that shit. So you basically just telling on yourself. So this podcast wasn't an opportunity to take shots at Frank.
Obviously, because we've had 10 years of knowing him to take shots at him if we really wanted to.
Right. To put it out there, you don't know who your friends really are. You really don't. Just like you, Frank, we're just taking this opportunity to spill our heart and to say what we really feel. But unlike you, we're talking directly to you. We're letting you know that this is about you, and we're letting you know that...
And we're also using this as a teaching moment to have some positivity come out of this negative moment. I ain't tripping that you want to take shots at me on Facebook. To be honest, I'm used to it. Frenemies come a dime a dozen to me. I've had frenemies my whole cosplay life. It ain't no surprise that you're another one of them. That ain't what I'm tripping about. I just want to take this moment to let the rest of y'all know that these people exist in your circles. It could be the person you call your best friend.
And honestly, this is one of the big reasons why I don't make friends as easily anymore, because I'm naturally just a caring person. I can't help that about myself. But I'm careful nowadays, because just like how I spent so much time talking to Frank when he was, down in the dumps and, spilling his heart out, I spent a lot of time with that person that I will never get back. And I never wanted it back until I found out you was a friend of me. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, a lot of you out there will trust so blindly and talk to people so blindly. But you have to know these people and really get to know these people sometimes, because you never know who they really are deep down inside.
Being a weeb, being a nerd, being an outcast myself, I know what it feels like to not have friends.
Yeah.
I wasn't always fan service Renji on YouTube and on this podcast or in cosplay. I used to be a nobody. I still am a nobody in the grand scale. I just have a few more friends than I used to before I started cosplaying. I'm still that guy inside. So I understand the need and the want to make friends. Not only to make friends, but to feel that's your BFF. That's the one mistake I notice a lot of my cosplay peers doing. We trust and pretty much fall in love with someone so easily, for lack of better words. You just want that person to be your best friend because we're so used to being alone. That's not always a good thing. And that's what this podcast is about. Don't give your heart out to people just like that. People got to earn their spot in your life.
Exactly. And we're not saying don't be friends with anybody, because that's just stupid. But just be careful of who you trust information with and who you let your guard down with, because you don't know if that person's going to turn on you. Like, just really get to know these people and really get to know who they are when they're not putting on a front.
Then on the other side of that coin, also be ready to let people go. Ready to accept the bullshit for what it is. Don't matter how long you've been friends. There's a certain point of no return.
Right.
This is one of them. If someone's going to kick you while you're down, there ain't no coming back from that.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever Frank's problem is, we go back to how he failed his psych exam. Maybe he does have something wrong with him. Maybe he's got some bipolar shit. Who knows? It's going to be up to us to decide how we move forward from that. Not him. He can apologize or not apologize. That's on him. I don't expect him to. But just like with you, or someone wrongs you, you decide if they come back in your life. They can apologize, send you flowers and all that shit, but that doesn't mean you have to take them back. And that's one of the hardest lessons I had to learn being out here. I've spoke about it on a podcast where I moved out here with one of my best friends. Ride or die, bail each other out of jail kind of best friends. 10 plus years of our friendship gone. Something came between us, and there was no coming back. But we've both accepted that. Just like how they used to amputate limbs before the infection spread. Sometimes you got to cut that limb off so the rest of your life can go on.
Exactly.
We understand it's hard to make friends, but it's even harder to let go. But you got to do it.
Sometimes holding on hurts more than letting go.
True.
Yeah, I be watching these true crime shows all the time. And it's always 10 times out of 10, most of the time. Anytime there's like a robbery, they stole your kid, they stole your house, they stole stuff, like expensive stuff, stole your car, whatever it was always someone that person knew. It was always someone that got close enough to this family or this person that got away with it. And you would never have known that or even suspected it because you put so much trust into that person. That person knows everything about you. And there's really not a lot that I could tell you, like, what to look for and, like, what to really do about that. Because sometimes them be, like, sneaky assholes that do that all the time. But, like, you just have to really be careful about who you trust. And who you let in your home, who you let in your life like that. Just be careful. Don't be putting all of that out for everybody to take a piece of because you never know.
Yeah. Wow. Today got really deep. Not what I originally planned for a Thanksgiving podcast. I had happy thoughts of doing tell your Thanksgiving stories, but when inspiration strikes, you gotta go for it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm thankful that this came to light. When it did, I can go into the holiday season and start a new year knowing that there's one less person I need to care about in my life. So I'm thankful for that. Thank you, beautiful stuffed turkey. Thank you, honey roasted ham. Thank you, all the sides that Shana wants to eat. Thank you for blessing us with this truth that another person in our lives have proven that they ain't shit to us. Hallelujah, turkey gods.
Hallelujah. And I'm just thankful that I was able to learn those very important values very early in life because unfortunately, I never really had much luck in that department. I'm already above it. Again, this wasn't an opportunity to take shots at Frank. It was more just to teach you guys about people like Frank because people like Frank are there in your life right now. But fortunately for me, what I'm very thankful for is that I'm able to really, just let that person go and just be done with it. I'm not mad at you, Frank. I'm not. It might seem like it, but I'm not. I'm just letting you go. There's a difference between that.
Yeah, all jokes and sarcasm aside, Frank, I wish you the best.
I wish you the best too.
I'm glad you got your life together. We knew it was a struggle for a long time. It's great to see that you pulled yourself out of it. I don't have too many friends that are homeowners, so congratulations for that. We wish you and your family the best.
We really do, because honestly, dude, what you were going through before, I'm just glad you saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm so glad you did that, because I had a few friends this year who weren't as fortunate, who unfortunately took their own lives, and those people weren't so lucky. Those people didn't, for lack of better words, didn't have enough inspiration to keep moving forward. And I'm so happy that you did, because you were in bad shape. You might not remember that, but I do. And I'm just so thankful and grateful that you're okay and that you're doing way better than you were before. And I hope you take that, and I hope you grow with that, and I hope you continue to grow for many, many years to come. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Still not friends, but I still wish you the best. And I wish that one day you won't be like this anymore. I wish somebody would really just sit you down and tell you, man to man, person to person, just who you are and what you're doing. Because what you're doing right now, that shit ain't cute. And I hope you don't come across the wrong person. I hope you don't do this to the wrong person. But for your sake, I just hope one day you realize that this shit is wrong.
Everything we just set aside, we really do wish you the best. And to everyone else, happy Thanksgiving. Let's bring it back around and enjoy to get happy for the holiday.
Yeah. I'm about to throw down in the kitchen.
That sounded so fake. Hey, who's ready for the holidays? I know I just said screw your friends because they're going to stab you in the back, but hey, who's ready for turkey? Sorry, guys. That's just kind of who I am. I can go from 0 to 100 and I can flip a 180 at the same time. Just because we talked about something serious doesn't mean I can't cut it off and just try to enjoy life.
Doesn't mean we that heartbroken about it. So
yeah, honestly. And y'all can be the same. Just because something bad is happening doesn't mean you can't turn around and enjoy something good that's happening. There's always something good happening in your life. You just got to embrace it. Make sure you follow us on social media. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble, bitch.
Oh my God.